It's a pleasure to have you join me on this virtual journey. Welcome. Greetings, viewers. Get ready to immerse yourself in the world of The Quickening Maze in this video. The Quickening Maze is a 2009 historical fiction novel by British poet and author Adam Foulds and published by Jonathan Cape. The book received the Encore Award 2009 European Union Prize for Literature 2011 and was shortlisted for Man Booker Prize 2009 and Walter Scott Prize 2010. The book is based on the historical backdrop of a mental asylum run by Matthew Allen at Highbeach in late Ers and Ers, which had English poet John Clare admitted therein. Alfred, Lord Tennyson, another notable poet of the era, moves to Highbeach to get his brother Septimus treated, and Alfred, himself, has to overcome depression after the death of his close friend Arthur Hallam. The book narrates Clary's life, the asylum's effects on both poets, and bases its storyline on the popular speculation of whether Clare and Tennyson had ever met. Our focus now turns to plot, an important aspect of our discussion. Matthew Allen runs an asylum called Highbeach Private Asylum for mental patients of his. John Clare, a peasant poet from Northamptonshire who is not so famous then, is admitted in the asylum for his lunatic behaviours, memory lapses and delusions. Allen treats his patients differently from other mental institutes, giving them much freedom, especially to Clare by recognising his talent in poetry. Alfred Tennyson's brother Septimus faces depression and he is also admitted in the asylum. Tennyson and his family move to Highbeach and stay nearby the asylum. Allen has an history of debts and was once imprisoned for frauds. He is now collecting funds for a new carpentry machine called Period Life that he claims to have patented in UK. He convinces Tennyson and his family to invest in the machine. Various patients with characteristic personalities and disorders have been included. A certain George Laidlaw is shown to be obsessed with the national debt, and Margaret keeps believing that God is speaking to her. Charles Seymour is from an aristocratic family and he is wrongly placed in the asylum by his family to avoid his marriage with his lover, who the family deems unsuitable for him. Various incidences of sexual violence between fellow inmates are noted in the asylum. Allen's teenage daughter, Hannah, craves for attention and starts fancying Tennyson. When she gets nothing out of it, she falls for Seymour. Tennyson is also brooding over the death of his friend Arthur Hallam and is shown working on a memorial to Hallam. Clare starts roaming about in the woods of Epping Forest, coming in contact with local gypsies. He treasures these wanderings where he finds time for his poems, if he is not claiming to be a prize fighter or Lord Byron or Shakespeare. Tennyson loses much of his family fortunes in the wrong investments and decides to return to London, determined to write about Hallam, and Clare runs away from the institute and sets on his 4-day walking journey back to his home, finally reaching to his wife. Welcome to the next segment, where we explore characters and its significance in our journey. John Clare, a poet admitted to the asylum for delusions and memory lapses, Matthew Allen, the asylum's director Alfred, Lord Tennyson, a famous poet accompanying his ill brother Septimus, Tennyson's brother suffering from depression, Eliza Allen, Allen's wife Fulton Allen, Allen's son Hannah Allen, Allen's daughter Dora Allen, Allen's daughter Abigail Allen, Allen's daughter Oswald Allen, Allen's older brother Judith Smith, Roma woman, a member of a Roma community Clare spends time with in a wood clearing near the asylum. Thomas Rawnsley, successful manufacturer. George Laidlaw, man obsessed with the national debt. Margaret, woman convinced that God speaks to her. Charles Seymour, aristocratic young man. William Stockdale, attendant. Annabella, Hannah's friend. Now, let's dig deeper into history and unveil the hidden treasures it holds within. John Clare was born in a poor farming family. In 1820 he had published his first poetry book, which won him the epithet of Northamptonshire peasant poet. In 1836 he started having memory lapses, and the next year he voluntarily got admitted in Allen's asylum and stayed there until he ran away in 1841 and went on his 4-day walk from Essex to Warrington near Peterborough. Clare stayed with his wife for a few months before being admitted to Northampton General Lunatic Asylum. Tennyson's brother Septimus was a patient of Allen between 1837 and 1840. Tennyson and his family on various occasions stayed in the nearby houses. Tennyson invested $3,000 in mid-years in Alan's invention period life, and his three sisters added $4,000 to the investment. Failure of the machine led to bankruptcy of Alan and great loss to the Tennyson family. Tennyson left High Beach and then went on to write In Memoriam or. Alan ran an asylum for mentally challenged people and separated it into 3 houses: Fairmead for men, Springfield for women, and Leopard's Hill Lodge for severe patients of either gender. Visitors and patients' relatives have noted normality kept inside the asylum. He also went on to raise a fund to enable Clare to stay independently. He died in 1845, and Tennyson got some financial help from Alan's insurance. Historically, it is not known whether Tennyson and Clare had met each other while they both stayed together in the area in the same period. But Clary's biographer Jonathan Bates speculates that although the two poets might not have met in the asylum, both used to take walks in the forest and also had a common friend, the son of poet Thomas Campbell. However, in the Quickening Maze, the two poets never meet. In the upcoming section, we'll be dissecting reception and exploring its implications in greater detail. The Independent, in the review written by Simon Covese, who is editor of the John Clare Society Journal, summed the book to be a heady mix of delicacy and grotesquerie, intimacy and misanthropy. Author Adam Foulds notes that the Norton Anthology of English Literature that he studied in his college days dedicated only 4 pages to Clare, but the poet's reputation increased significantly after Jonathan Bates published Clary's biography in 2003. Writing for the Washington Post, editor Ron Charles notes that the book is not the biography of Clare, but its finely tuned sympathy will bring you close to the soul of an exuberant poet. Charles also notes that the most moving parts of the book are of the episodes where Clare is wandering in the forest. The review in New Statesman appreciates Foulds for penning Clary's character that thinks in poems, and also deemed Drive, Alan and Tennyson's scenes together as awkward because of the historical nature of the book. Journalist and author Lionel Shriver notes that Foulds, who won Costa Poetry Award in 2008, keeps the book poetic without losing the plot. She also appreciates that despite featuring 2 poets with a background of mental asylum, the book does not conjure insanity as an exalted state of literary enlightenment. The New Yorker's critic James Wood mentions that Foulds has created his own poems in the book, like thick curds of summer cloud moving slowly over, while narrating the 2 poets and not simply borrowing their works. Indian writer Neil Mukherjee calls the book a subtle meditation on the mysterious nature of the creative process. As we embark on the next leg of our journey, let's unpack the layers of awards and examine its core elements. The book was nominated for the Man Booker Prize. It was shortlisted along with Hilary Mantel's historic novel Wolf Hall about Thomas Cromwell, a South Viet's novel The Children's Book, Nobel laureate J.M. Coetzee's novel Summertime, Simon Maurer's novel The Glass Room, and Sarah Waiters's Gothic fiction novel The Little Stranger. The Quickening Maze was called a rank outsider when it was shortlisted with these books. Mantel's work won the award, as several sources had speculated it would. The book won the Encore Award and the judges Alex Clark, Lindsay Dugrid, and Peter Parker described it as a confident, beautifully written historical novel, seamed with poetry and intense descriptions of the natural world, which unobtrusively deploys its documentary underpinnings. In 2010, it was nominated for the inaugural Walter Scott Prize, where it again competed with Maurer's The Glass Room and Mantel's Wolf Hall, where Mantel won. The following year, in 2011, it won the European Union Prize for Literature. Remember, knowledge is power. Keep learning, growing, and exploring.